Vanchakalpaturvischa, Kripasindevicha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Om Gyantiramandasya, Ganjana Salakya, Chakshurmilitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Chinadapi Sunichina, Tarodapi Srihishnuna, Amandina Manedana, Kirtane Sadahari, Anyabrasta Sunyam, Gyan Kamadhyana Vritam, Anukalanya Krishna Shilana, Bhakti Uttama, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasadi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Dandvat pranams, my dear God brothers and God sisters, from America, from England, from Germany. I think we may even have someone coming from New Zealand. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, there we go. Harry Prish, she's arrived. Vanamali, Haribol. So beautiful to see you again. This day 18 of our Kartik Parikarama. And today is an extra special day, it being the disappearance day of our beloved Srila Prabhupada, without whom I don't think there'd be one person who would be in Krishna consciousness who's attending today. He is responsible for bringing us all to Krishna. The most amazing personality, whom our beloved Srila Gurudev, right from the first tour of the world in '96, just constantly and consistently glorified him, and also so embraced his devotees. So today we're having our beloved God brother, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Asharama Maharaja, from zooming in from Florida, to give his very relishable Harikatha. And we're going to have some other contributions from Prabhupada disciples. And please feel free, if you want to glorify Prabhupada today, just let me know. And I'll, within the constraints of time, I will try to fit you in so we can hear your relishable memories and insights. Maharaj, please, we look forward to hearing your katha. Haribol.
Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gorachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I offer my most respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Diksha Guru, Om Vishnupad, Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj. Again, I offer my most respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Sannyas and Shiksha Guru, Om Vishnupad, Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Bhaktivedanta Asharama Maharaj. And I offer my most respectful obeisances on the lotus feet of my Param Guru Days, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, and Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Astottara Sata Shishmat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, all to all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So, on this day, normally we're in Vrindavan, in Govardhan, And Srila Gurudev, he's on the dais, and different devotees, they come and they offer their Shraddha Pushpanjali. They offer their respects and offer words to Srila Prabhupada on his disappearance day. So today, I really have not prepared what I was going to speak because I'm not really like physically so good, but just literally like 3 minutes before, then things started to come to me. So see that Srila Prabhupada, as with all acharyas, that their hallmark is their Guru Nishta and their Guru Seva. That how they have so much unflinching faith in their gurus and how they dedicate their life to following the orders and to serve their guru's wishes. That Srila Prabhupada in his life, he did not have much faith in so many so-called sadhus because as a young boy, his father, many so-called sadhus would come to his house, and in many cases, they were not really sadhus. So he had a friend called Narendra, and Narendra told him that there's one very nice sadhu. I want you to come and meet him. Srila Prabhupada, his name Abhay Charnavindam, he said, no, I'm not very interested. But Narendra literally pulled him to come and see this sadhu. When he met the sadhu was preaching the importance of developing Krishna consciousness, the utmost importance of developing Krishna consciousness as the only thing really to be done. Abhay, he said, first, we must become free from the grips of the British, because Srila Prabhupada at that time was a follower of Gandhi and was very much in favor of the Indian nationalism. But then Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada then explained to Abhay that really all these different isms were just different manifestations of the illusory energy, and that the real duty of the human being, labha sudulabam idam bahu sambhavante manusyam atadam anityam apiha dira tanuram yateta napatet anpetet yazbat, that upon achieving the human form of life, labha sudulabam idam bahu sambhavante, after undergoing so many different births, manusyam atadam, that this human birth is very, very difficult to achieve and is very valuable. At anitya apiha dira, that one who's dira, one who's sober, that they will perfect their lives by becoming Krishna conscious, and then they will actually solve the problems of life. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada so soundly defeated Abhay. And when Abhay left with his friend Narendra, then Narendra said, what do you think? And Abhay said, oh, he's a very nice sadhu. Srila Prabhupada, he said that in his life, because he was such an intelligent young man, intelligent boy, he said that I had never been defeated in my life in an argument. This was the first time, and I was very happy. He said, at that point, I accepted him as my guru. This was in 1922. So Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna is showing that, first of all, what is initiation? Diksha kale bhakta kore atmasamapan se kale Krishna tore kore atmasam. That Diksha kale, at the time of Diksha, bhakta kore, the devotee does, atmasamapan, they surrender themselves. Se kale Krishna tore kore atmasam. Then the guru, he brings the disciple gradually, or according to the Adhikar disciple, up to the transcendental platform. So because at that first meeting, Srila Prabhupada had offered himself to his guru. He had surrendered to him, and the guru had accepted him. That was the initiation. Initiation is not the formality of going to a guru and sitting in a fire sacrifice, receiving the beads, etc. That is also important, but that is just to make an impression of the real surrender of the heart that is really necessary for initiation. It said that you have Ruhat Vidvalian, you have like a formal initiation and you have real initiation. So in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada, he had that real initiation. He had that connection. Why? Because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is his eternal master. So in performing his Leela, there was just a point of them being apart and then now coming together, but actually they're eternally together. His guru is always there with him. So then Srila Prabhupada, he started to serve his guru's mission. And whenever he could, he would go and he would hear from his spiritual master. He said that my spiritual master, his Harikatha was so deep, so philosophical. He said, I couldn't even understand him. And Srila Prabhupada was a very intelligent person. He said, but I just used to sit down and I just used to hear. Even if I didn't understand, I just used to hear. Why? Because he used to have then the transcendental sound, the Shabda Brahm, would enter into the ear. So this is the importance not of just accepting a guru, but accepting a guru who actually is on the transcendental platform. So many people may have the position of guru, but how many actually are on that transcendental platform to really give transcendental sound vibration? That is guru. That without giving transcendental sound vibration, then somebody may have the position of guru, but in truth, they're not really paramatic guru. They're not transcendental guru. That what is the qualification of guru? Tasmat gurum papadyeta gigyashusre uttamam shabde parichanishatam brahmani upasamastrayam. That tasmat gurum papadyeta in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our main praman, it says that first one must surrender to guru. Tasmat gurum papa gigyashusre uttamam, that one should inquire from the guru. Shabde parichanishatam, that the guru, he has three qualifications. First is that he is realized that he not only knows the transcendental subject matter, but he has realized the transcendental subject matter. Another, and that transcendental subject matter is coming from Sri Krishna himself. Advai Gyan Tattva Brajendra Kumar. The non-dual absolute truth, Sham Sundar Sri Krishna. That guru has realization of Krishna, that he actually sees Krishna. He has relationship in a real, tangible, face-to-face way. That the guru has no material desires within the heart. Understanding if the guru has desires or not, we cannot really tell, even though it's stated in Hari Bhakti Vilas that one should associate with the guru for a period, I think 6 months to 1 year, before one takes initiation, so that the guru can study the disciple and the disciple can study the guru. But even after being with the guru, doesn't mean that you'll understand, what is going on within their heart. But to the best of one's ability, one should go and serve guru and have faith that this person is bona fide. Then the guru's ability that they see Krishna, that we don't know who's seen, who's not seen. That somebody may act in such a way that they have that relationship with God, but really it's an internal thing, and really we don't know. Tasma gurum papadita shabde pare shabde pare chanisnatam brahmi upasamasamam. Yeah, so you have these three qualities. One is that they have realization. Second is that they have no material desires within the heart. And then the third is that they are conversant with the scriptures. So somebody may be very conversant with the scriptures, and we may hear them, and we may be convinced by their logic, by their presentation, we may be impressed. But it doesn't mean that they actually have realization. And material desires, they may act like there's no material desires, but we don't know what's within the heart. So what is the real deciding factor? The real deciding factor is the heart. That when in your heart, the super soul, who is the guru within, inspires that this is your guru, then that is the strongest praman. But then you have to check it by going to the scriptures and seeing what are the symptoms and qualities of a guru, and then you check it and you validate that internal stirring that came from the super soul. So Srila Prabhupada, he got this, Bhaktivedanta Asharama Prabhupada, he got this from his guru and he surrendered immediately. And he was rendering so much services. And whenever he could, he would go and he would hear Harikatha. He would take the devotees out on preaching programs. He would play madanga. Another devotee would sing, and then another devotee would speak. And in this way, he'd go to his different contacts that he had, because he had so many contacts in the business world. And in this way, he went out and he was preaching. When he had his house, he had like a duplex. He had one side for his family, and then the other side was for his preaching activities. There he would have the Gaudiya Math devotees, brahmacharis and sannyasis. They would come and they would stay there. And then he would go and he would discuss with them. And he would engage in his japa. So much so that that absorbed him so much that even though he was a thriving businessman, that his business started to go down. But he was not at all disturbed. He was not at all disturbed. But his life was his bhajan, his service to his god brothers and guru, and his preaching. That was his life. And from that time, from 1922, he went on and he did not take initiation until 1933, 11 years. He has surrendered himself, but he did not take initiation. We're so quick to receive initiation, and sometimes devotees are so quick to give initiation. And it's not that Prabhupada did not give initiation quickly also, he did. But that was not the general rule. In his life, he showed that finally, when he was presented to his guru for initiation, then they said, oh, that he's doing so many good services. They will start to glorify him in front of Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. And then Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada said, I have noted him already. And what did he note? He said, he hears very nicely. Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. That Prabhupada said that, our Prabhupada, he said that I used to hear, even though I couldn't understand, but I just, even when everybody would go on parikrams, they go different places, I would never go with them. I would just sit and hear. And his guru noted that not only is he hearing, but he's hearing very nicely. So before his spiritual master left the planet, then there were some different things that stand out. One time they had the Navadvip Parikram, and there were thousands of devotees at the place of Gaur Gadadhar temple in Champahatta. And at that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he had sent devotee, one or two devotee to the West, and they come back with not so much success. So Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was speaking in front of thousands, 5,000-10,000 devotees. If you ever go to Champahatta, you can see it's a big field. And he said that we have spent our lifeblood, the Gaudiya Math has spent lifeblood to send devotees to the West, but we have not been so successful. And then he scanned the crowd. And then the devotee who's telling this pastime, one Babaji Maharaj, who used to be taking care of, I forget his name, he used to take care of the Gaur Gadadhar deities. He said he stopped and he just looked at our Prabhupada. And he said, but the next time we send somebody, he will be successful. So when Srila Prabhupada, he wrote his spiritual master, He had taken initiation in 1933. Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, he left the planet in 36. So right before Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada was about to leave the planet, our Prabhupada wrote him and said that that you have so many qualified sannyasis, so many very powerful preachers. What service can I do for you? And then his spiritual master wrote him, and he just reiterating the point that his spiritual master had given to him personally. He told him that you speak English. In fact, he told him this in the first meeting, that you speak English. So you should preach this message of Mahaprabhu in the foreign worlds. You should preach abroad. So when he asked his spiritual master again for his instructions, then the spiritual master gave him the instruction that he had said, oh, you have so many sannyasis, so many stalwart preachers, erudite scholars. What can I do? In a very humble way. I'm just a lowly grihasta. And the spiritual master said that you should preach this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the English-speaking languages, that you have this ability that you should preach. That one time he was with his spiritual master, I believe he was with his spiritual master, and his spiritual master told him, he said that there will be fire in the mat, in the Gaudiya mat. Means that after he would leave after Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada would leave the world, that then there would be fighting between the different disciples. And he said there will be fire.
Maharaj, you're on mute. Oh, no.
Okay, am I on mute? Am I still on mute?
You're good
No,
now.
you're on mute now.
Okay, yeah, somebody just rang me. I just had to. So can you see me okay?
No.
How's that?
Yes.
Okay. So where was I?
On
So
fire.
then
The Gaudiya Mat would be on fire.
that there'll be fire in the Gaudiya Mat. So Srila Prabhupada, he said, and I never met Srila Prabhupada personally, but I've been trained by Srila Prabhupada. I feel like that. My devotion training was mostly in a Sankirtan van with distributing Srila Prabhupada's books and reading Srila Prabhupada's books. That's what I had. So Srila Prabhupada, he said, so I never really took part in any side. He said like that. He said, I never took part in any side, that there were different sides, but I just stayed apart from these different sides. So one time I read in one of Srila Prabhupada's purports that Srila Prabhupada, he also echoed the same thing, that there may be different groups here and there, but he was echoing the sentiment, of not really being partial in this way. And to be quite honest, it's like you read something and you get an epiphany kind of thing, and that hit me. And till today, I don't involve in groups really. I just don't get involved in it, and that's why I don't do it. Just that instruction that came from Srila. I can't even remember where it was exactly. It was a purport, one of his Bhaktivedanta, one of his jewels. You see, so there was and it so happened that there was fire in the Gaudiya Mat, and Srila Prabhupada, he continued with his service. And what was the service? That he was writing magazines. He was translating Srimad Bhagavatam into the English language. And he was a founding member of Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, which we are offspring from. He was there with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and had very close relationship with Srila Bhakti. But Srila Prabhupada, he was pretty much alone, actually. He wasn't, there were groups, and Srila Prabhupada, I wasn't there, but what I got was that he didn't really get too much caught up, though he was very close with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And if you could say, where was he? You can kind of say, okay, he was there with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. Because one time, Srila Prabhupada, he was writing for, maybe it was the Harmonists or something. and he wrote very, very strongly. He wrote something to the effect that the devotees, after Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, that they were just like ringing bells and, you know, not really doing much. And then his god brothers, they came and they went to Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj to complain because our Prabhupada was staying with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and he was close with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And they say, how dare he? You know, who is he? I don't even think maybe Prabhupada was not even a sannyasi. He was just a grihasta. How dare he speak about us like this, you know? And Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was, what can I do? What can I do? And then after they had left, Srila Prabhupada was there with our Srila Prabhupada, with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and they were just laughing. So Srila Prabhupada was independent-minded in that way, that he was very strong, that he would not compromise in speaking the truth as he saw it. He was totally strong, so much to the point that even when Srila Prabhupada had come to buy land in Mayapur, one of his god brothers blocked him, actually. And that god brother went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj and said, look, he's saying that we're just bell ringers, this and that. And by this time, Prabhupada had started this gone and was preaching all over. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, hey, but how glorious it is that we're bell ringers in his big Sankirtan mission, how glorious it is. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he harmonized it in this way. So Srila Prabhupada, he took this order of his spiritual master and he just made it his very life and soul. That when one devotee, I may have told this before, one devotee, he went to Mayapur. He was an old man, and he told the devotees a story. He said that I am the priest in Advaitacharya's temple in Shantipur, and there used to be one man who used to come, a grihasta, and he used to come and he just sit there all day just chanting and crying in front of Advaitacharya, in front of the temple. And then he stopped coming. And then after some time, I saw some Western devotees coming. And when they left, they left a magazine. And I looked at the magazine, and in the top corner, I saw a picture of that grihasta who used to cry. And where Godhead, and back to Godhead magazine. And then I realized that, oh, that he has actually gone to the West and he's preached. And then he came to Mayapur and said, this has come. So Srila Prabhupada, he took that order of his spiritual master and he doing his Naravat Lila. Naravat Lila means that it's not that he came out of the womb a self-realized soul, but he manifests pastimes of also evolving in his spiritual life. So he absorbed himself in bhajan in such an intense way. Another time, there was a devotee in Madan Mohan temple who said that Prabhupada used to go there in the early days before ISKCON, and he used to just sit there and just chant and just cry and cry and cry and cry and cry. One devotee said that Srila Prabhupada, he was living outside the Radha Damodar temple, and he would hear somebody crying at 1 o'clock in the morning. And he went on his roof and he saw Srila Prabhupada just sweeping in front of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir. And he was just sweeping at 1, just crying, Harup, Harup, Harup. And in this way, Prabhupada was doing his bhajan. And he was doing his bhajan, perfecting himself, and at the same time, binding himself, becoming completely one with the order of his spiritual master. He said the verse that gave him so much inspiration was the verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhya eke ha kurunandana bahu shakahayantascha bahuna vyavasayinam. That those who are in this path, they're resolute in purpose. In the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says something to the effect that the sun and the moon may stop to rise, but the devotee who's resolute will never give up the order of the spiritual master, especially in the process of sadhana bhakti. Srila Prabhupada said that this gave me the inspiration to come to the West. This gave me so much inspiration to come to the West. So he left his family. That's another pastime that I don't need to get into. Actually, what time is it? It's 13:33. He left his family, and then he went to live in Vrindavan, and there it was so austere. It was so austere. First he was in Mathura, and there Srila Gurudev. He went to see him at he was in one Dharmshala. I forget, by one of the ghats. I forget. My mind is not so good. And then Gurudev brought him to the mat. He said, "Why are you staying there? You should come. You should stay here." And there's Srila Prabhupada. He was translating his books. And then in the daytime, he used to make some homeopathic medicines. And then he would go out and he would, I guess, sell his medicines or whatever. And then do some preaching. Then Gurudev, he convinced Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj that Prabhupada, he should take sannyas. So then Srila Prabhupada, he took sannyas. And that time there was his godbrother, Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. And when Gurudev, he was actually doing the fire sacrifice, and his spiritual master was sitting, overseeing, and Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was always absorbed in Nam, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And he was chanting loud during the fireside, and somebody kind of shoot him down, slow down. And then Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he then lowered his voice. And then when everybody's face was turned somewhere else, then Prabhupada turned to him and said, "Up, more. And tell him, you chant loud. And then Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj said, then I knew that he's the person who spread the holy name all over the world. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So then, from Mathura, there's a very funny pastime, is that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he's the officiating guru of the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. He has given sannyas to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada went out preaching. I'm talking about not giving quick initiation. And then Prabhupada started to initiate. Then word got to Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. So Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj called him and said, I heard that you initiated. He said, yeah, I'm sannyas. I'm a father. I should have children, right? And in this way. So then Srila Prabhupada, he moved to Vrindavan. And here's Srila Prabhupada, who was a businessman. What was his name? Nero, very, very high class, high people in the government. They were his customers. He used to associate with them. And here he was living, in very, very poor condition. That Gurudev said he didn't even have a chadar. He didn't have a chadar. But what he did was every day he was translating the books that he was doing as a service to his spiritual master, because his spiritual master gave him the order that you should preach in the English language. And he made that his life and soul. In the summertime in India, in Vrindavan, it gets so hot that time people, they just turn on their fans, and even that doesn't give relief, because the wind is hot, what they call lu, very, very hot air. That Prabhupada, he would stay up in the afternoon where everybody would just hide, and he was just translating the books. So he was up at 1 o'clock in the morning doing his bhajan, and in the afternoon where everybody was getting solace from the heat, he was still up, and he was just relentlessly just getting his mission in place. So then he would go to Delhi, and there he had his magazines that he was also printing, and then he would go and he would do book distribution, and he would sell his magazines in this way. He would print the magazines, and then he would also sell his magazines. So then Srila Prabhupada, he got a free fare with Srimati Muraji, what's this, Scindia Steams Company on the Jaladuta. And then Srila Prabhupada, he was going across, and he had heart attack. It was such a very, very bad crossing. So then Srila Prabhupada, he explains that at that time, that what happened? That Krishna came to him in a dream and told him that, don't worry, that it will be okay. And then the wife of the captain said that after that, the crossing, it became so smooth. She had never seen a crossing so smooth. Srila Prabhupada, he told one Brijbasi, his name Bhagatji. Bhagatji is a Brijbasi who gave the donation of the land for the Krishna Balaram temple. And Prabhupada told him in confidence, and I heard this, Ramesh one time told this in Vrindavan, in one of the programs like this, that Bhagatji, Prabhupada told Bhagatji that Krishna personally came and massaged his chest and said, don't worry, that I've got you, that you won't have any problem. And then the crossing became very, very smooth, and Srila Prabhupada, he went to the West. And based on what? Based on carrying out the order of his Guru Seva, his Guru Nishta. But behind that, he did very powerful sadhana. We see the glorious Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But what's he got behind him? What's he done behind him? I forgot to say that when he was translating these books in Radha Damodar Temple, that he said that Srila Jiva Goswami, his associates, that they would come and they would personally direct him how to write his Bhaktivedanta purports. And they would say, no, not like this. You write like this, you write like that. So in this way, he was getting help, not only from his Gurudev, but the whole Guru Parampara. They came and they empowered him to bring this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western countries. So he comes to the Western countries and he stops in, what's it? Butler, Pennsylvania, something like that. And then he's staying with Agrawal, the Agrawal family. And then he's just learning everything about Western society. So much so that Sally Agrawal, she said that one time she was in the living room and she saw water coming from underneath the door of the bathroom. And she was wondering, what's going on? And then when Prabhupada opened the door, realized that Prabhupada had never seen a bathtub. So in India, everybody takes bucket baths. So he thought the bathtub was a big bucket. So he filled up the bathtub and then stood outside on the floor and started to give a bucket bath, and the water was just coming down. Have you ever heard this one before, Yashoda? So
that's brilliant. It reminds me of it's brilliant. That reminds me of the Paddington Bear story. It's brilliant.
Okay, so I mean, just to illustrate that, here Prabhupada coming at what, 67 years old, right? I've not reached 67. I'm thinking, okay, it's time to it's get ready for giving up life. You've done what you can this life, get a better body next life, and go for it. Prabhupada started right at 67. That's when he started his mission. Okay, so then he didn't know anything. He didn't know anything, and he just went and he just learned. He just learned. He met people, and obviously Prabhupada, he is like the ultimate Sankirtanero. He's the ultimate book distributor, the ultimate Sankirtan devote. So whoever he meets, he's going to totally charm them. He totally charmed them. And he did this. And people would see him and just on the streets and say, oh, there's the old Swami from India. And in this way, he made friends with everybody and he knew everybody by first name. And then he went to New York by himself. He went with $4 in his pocket to America, and or not $4, 40 rupees or some minuscule amount of money. And then going to New York, then first he was preaching with one uptown Swami, and this uptown Swami had a place in Monroe, New York, upstate. And he didn't even want Prabhupada to speak. Prabhupada just did kirtan, and Prabhupada couldn't speak. So then Prabhupada just sized up the whole situation of America, okay? And then how did he size it up? One devotee tells that Prabhupada, he went in the subway, the underground in England, and then he just went up and down, one line and then another line and another line. And what was he doing? He was just sitting down and just observing the American people, the New York people, just observing them. He was just scoping the scene. He was doing his surveillance and understanding the American people. Then he came up with his plan how to conquer the world. Okay? So then, what happened? So then, where am I? So then he went to the village. The village there, you had the hippie movement. It was ingenious that he would go to that place at that time. And there he went in the park, and with a bongo drum, didn't even have a madanga, and he was just chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And with those, 16 words, 32 syllables, what have you, he brought the whole spiritual world. He brought Goloka Vrindavan. He brought Mathura Dwarka. He brought Vaikunta. He brought the whole spiritual world into Tompkins Square Park. And the hippies, it entered into their hearts, and they started dancing, chanting. And in this way, they came, and he started, all based on following the order of his spiritual master. But the spiritual master should be a real guru. Should be a real guru. Not as Srila Gorgamaj or Shunarima say, not a kangaroo. For institutional purposes, many devotees may initiate who may not be fully on that platform. Okay, that's all right. It's up to them. Glories, all glories. But we should know that really what is a guru? Really what is a guru? And if one really wants to make spiritual advancement, you need tasmat gurum tat viganatam sagurum eva bigachet. That you must approach a bona fide guru, one who's on the transcendental platform, one who's bringing the spiritual world. So Prabhupada was not only bringing Goloka Vrindavan, but Prabhupada, he was empowered by Radha, Krishna, the Brij Basis, the Guru Parampara, that he should present the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in such a way that it will spread all over the world. So you see that his Bhaktivedanta purports, that they're so powerful, that they're just as if you are having that physical contact with Srila Prabhupada. So I was thinking that you have Srila Rupa, we are known as Rupanuga, because Sri Chaitanya Mano Bistam Stapitam Yen Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. What time is it? Oh man. Okay. Budara Prabhu is still there? Has he come?
He's here. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so let me wind up real quick. So
Maharaj,
It's
please
okay,
carry,
Maharaj. Go with the flow, whatever.
please carry
Okay.
on. I'm enjoying this very much.
Okay. So Sri Chaitanya Mano Bistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. That Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bistam, that he's taken Mano Bistam, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bistam, Stapitam. That this the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam, to establish, let me just, I want to get this completely right. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam. Okay. That Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam, that when will Sri Rupa Goswami give me shelter at his lotus feet? Because he has understood the innermost heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was able to establish his mission in this world and is therefore very dear to the Lord. Yes. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam, the innermost desire, that he has stapitam, he has established this in this bhutale, in this material world. So just as we are all Rupanuga, and before there used to be a group of devotees, they're known as, what do they call them? Prabhupada Nuga. But they had like a Ritvik philosophy. Okay, they still do Ritvik philosophy that they don't need any present guru. But my premise is that whoever is preaching in the Western world or around the world, whoever is taking to Krishna consciousness around the world, that in a very proper Siddhantic way, that we are all Prabhupada Anuga. Not that we want to jump over our spiritual masters, but we should understand that who is the person who has understood this innermost desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and who has come and brought it to the world. Bhutale. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. Srila Rupa Goswami has given the teachings to spread all over the world. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has actually physically come and traveled all over the world and brought those seeds and planted those seeds and watered those seeds. So anybody who comes to Krishna consciousness, anybody who's preaching Krishna consciousness, just as we must honor Srila Rupa Goswami, we must honor Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And by honoring him, we're not overstepping our guru, or we're not missing out on Bhaktisiddhanta or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but we're actually glorifying the whole Guru Parampara, because he is such a most important personality in our Guru Parampara. Because the verse which is there for Srila Rupa Goswami is so much appropriate for Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, that he has done that. And how he did it? Because he had that Guru Nishta and Guru Seva, that Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj said that he became completely one with the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. He became completely one. And in this way, there was nothing else in his life but that. And because of that, then the Guru Parampara were able to flow through him in such a very, very wonderful, unprecedented way, that if one wants success in their preaching, just like Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj, when he came to the West, what did he make sure he did? That he went to the holy places in the West. What are the holy places? Holy places of pilgrimage? Those places where Srila Prabhupada, he went. And he went, and there he worshiped those places with his tears. He went there and cried, where he said that, oh, I sent him Madanga. I sent him Mathura Pera. I sent him books. That Srila Gurudev is sending him books. That he got sick because of the fumes that are coming from these books, that they went into his lungs, and he got sick. And he himself gave up his health for serving Srila Prabhupada and serving our Guru Parampara. So Srila, what time is it? So Srila Prabhupada, in presenting the innermost desire of Srila Rupa Goswami, I didn't have time to look. That one time I was giving some glorification of Srila Prabhupada in front of Srila Gurudev. And I was expressing some thoughts. And then Srila Gurudev, he stopped me. And then he said, explain what is Rupanuga and what is Raganuga. And I was explaining what is Rupanuga. I was explaining what is Rag Bhakti, and explaining what is the Ragatmik Jan. I was explaining what is Raganuga, and then what is Rupanuga. And then he finished, he stopped me. And then he said, and your Swamiji, that he is a Rupanuga in that sense. That meaning that he's serving Radha and Krishna, and not just in a general sense, but in a very, very specific sense. So that is what Srila Prabhupada has come to give. Anapita Chirimchirat Karunaya Vitana Kalo Samapaitam Unota Dwala Ras Swabhakti Sriyam. That Anapita, that which has not been given, Anapita Chirimchirat Anapita Chirimchirat Samapaitam Unota Ujwala. That unot, most elevated, most effulgent, Ujwal, Ras, the mellow, Swa Bhakti Sriyam, that he's giving his own topmost bhakti. And what is his own topmost bhakti? Is this the source of Ladini Shakti, which is Radharani. But Sriyam, Swa Bhakti Sriyam, Sriyam means the beauty of that. And Gurudev explains that just like Krishna is a tamal tree, a very beautiful, dark tamal tree, and wrapped around the tamal tree is a golden creeper. And the golden creeper is Shrimati Radharani, in the embrace of Sham. And then, but the beauty are the leaves, and especially the manjaris, which are moving here and there. That the beauty of this prem of Srimati Radhika that Prabhupada has come to give, that this is this Manjari Bhav. Srila Gurudev, he's explaining like this, that he has come to give this. But because he came in a time, 1966, 67, 68, people were intoxicated with marijuana, they're intoxicated with LSD, intoxicated with so many drugs, that he had to cut the jungles. And in cutting the jungles, then he would even stand in line with the devotees to go in and take shower in the morning. They didn't even know that they have to go and give way so Srila Prabhupada can go. But he will just go along with them and then teach them gradually that you're not this body, that you are spirit soul, that you're part and parcel of Krishna, that you should serve Krishna. And he had to be cutting these jungles again and again and then pulling out the weeds. So that which the ultimate thing that he wanted to give, then he could not give it so clearly. But if you read his books, just like my spiritual master, Srila Gaur Maharaj, my Diksha Guru, he would read his books and then he would show you that how this Vraj Prem is there, how this Radha Prem, this Manjari Bhav, how this is there in Srila Prabhupada's books. Krishna Tulya Bhagavat, Krishna Tulya Bhagavat, Krishna Tulya Bhagavat. Oh my God, the mind. Krishna Tulya Bhagavat. Pratishlok Prati Akire Nana Atak. Krishna Tulya Bhagavat, Vibhu Sabashroy. Pratishlok Prati Akire Nana Atakoy. That in the Bhagavatam, it is Vibhu. It is same Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vibhu Sabashroy. Prati Shlok, in every shloka, Prati Akare, in every syllable, Nana Atakoy. There are innumerable meanings. And topmost are the service of Srimati Radharani to Shyam Sundar. So this is there in Srila Prabhupada's books. But he's written them in such an amazing way that the gross materialists will read those books and they'll be able to relate to it. It will touch their hearts. And at the same time, the Maha Bhagavats who are residing in holy places, in Kushum Sarova, in Radha Kund, in Nandagaon, that they'll read the Bhaktivedanta purports and they'll swim in the ocean of ecstasy. This is Prabhupada's, his amazing ability, to be able to reach people on all different levels in such a personal way. Why? Because he totally put himself out to serve the order of the spiritual master. Spiritual master, you go and preach in the Western world. So he went and assimilated. He went and without getting at one bit contaminated by the Western world, he went and completely absorbed the mentality, the social ethos of the Western people, and then he was able to be one of the Westerners at the same time being apart from the Westerners. And then he was able to give them in such a way that he was totally empathetic with the full potency of all the spiritual world and the Guru Parampara. So on this day, we pray to Srila Prabhupada that, oh, myself, that very fickle-minded, very, very fickle-minded, and very selfish, actually. But please, Prabhupada, please, that I'm your baby. So be merciful to me. Vantakalpa Turubhischa Kripasam Shapati Vaishnava. Bodhara Prabhu, I'm sorry
Maharaj.
What are you sorry about?
that I've taken up your time.
No. This is my time. You gave me my time more. I'm going to live longer after hearing that.
Hare Krishna.
Harikatha.
Maharaj, how old are you?
65.
2 years to go then. When I was listening to that, I had this vision in my mind of the lotus feet of Guru. Like you mentioned that 4 times. Nishta and Seva, Guru Nishta and Guru Seva. Such a beautiful and such a simple meditation. Meditating on the lotus feet of your Guru and thinking one foot symbolizes Nishta and one symbolizes Seva. And that's all our lives need to be about. And then you added the sadhana bit in, and that's icing on, that's beautiful. That's perfect.
Very nice.
That simplifies bhakti to its essence of purpose. In fact, it almost brings Prayojana Abhideya and Sambandha together in a very simple sutra. Beautiful. Thank you. Budhara Prabhu, sorry about that. I mean, that was wonderful. So,
but maybe Budhara Prabhu can speak a little bit. I mean, do we have to hang on time?
No, it's when I run out of time now.
I think we've run out of time. Maharaj, really, I
You
was still
should.
hoping that you would go the whole hour. So you've satisfied my desire. Thank you.
Yashodanandan Prabhu, do you have to go to another class? Because if you do, then I can always stay behind and let Budhara Prabhu continue.
Budhara, do you feel you want to?
I also have another conversation that I have to go to.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Okay. So we very kindly have had Hari Priya from New Zealand is there going to sing us that Sri Damodar-astakam. So I'm very excited to hear this bhajan. Thank you, Didi. Very kind of you. And before I hand over to Hari Priya Didi, just to remind everybody, tomorrow and Friday, we're at the time of 12:30 p.m. Because Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj will be giving us his Radhashava Katha from Mayapur. Thank you again, Maharaj. As usual, a very beautiful offering. Thank you so much.
Haribol, Yashodanandan. So every Thursday and Friday is at that earlier time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna adjust that in my schedule. That's like 4 something in the morning for me, I think. So
yeah, and every other day is 6 o'clock. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay. Haribol.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Haribol.
Hari Priya Didi, you're on mute. Hari Priya Didi? Oh, you're on mute.
That helps.
That's great. That's better. Yeah. If I was singing, then that would have been better, but you're singing.
Okay. Jai Srila Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada. I'll try again. Namam Ishvaram Sad Chidananda Rupa Vasakam Dalam Go Koi Brajavaram Jasabani Alukala Davamana Param Drischama Chanta Totu Jagopya Nunam Tama Honitra Yugma Rijanta Karamboja Yugmena Satam Kanetram Whose Kosakampa Trikankakanta Stita Griva Damodara Ramabdivadam Gita Drixvali Lavi Ananda Kunde Swagosham Chantam Bhakyapayandam Tadiyashita Gishu Bhakti Chitadvam Puna Prema Tastam Sadariti Vande Nirudeva Mokshana Mokshamadeva Nachanyam Vriniham Parisadavyaya Idam Teva Purnata Gopalavalam Sadame Manasyaviram Stamkinayam Idam Temakam Vojam Akyavalile Ritam Kantalasnita Rantasya Gopyam Muskamitam Imbaratadharame Manasya Virastam Alam Lakshalavai Nam Deva Damoda Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhuka Chalakti Madam Vibhadristi Vrisyati Dinam Natano Kriyaneshma Avya Hiriyaksha Drishya Kulamachi Tovara Mochavayarma Tvajimache To Bhakti Vajopintocha Tata Prema Bhaktim Svemame Prayacha Namo Shakrahomesti Damodareha Namaste Studamne Sparadipti Dame Dvaryorya Rayata Vishvashadame Namarani Kaya Dvarya Priyaya Namarani Kaya Dvarya Priyaya Namananta Lilaya Devaya Jogam Namishvaram Sat Chidananda Rupam Lasakam Dhalamko Purivajamaram Jaya Radha Damada 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 Jaya Radha Damada.
Haribol, thank you so much. And you got a beautiful murti of Srila Prabhupada there, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us a darshan. No. Beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful. The whole altar is beautiful. Can we see the whole altar?
Over here.
It's amazing. Wow.
Srila Gurudev heter.
Is that Srila Gurudev's murti?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oops.
That's amazing. Gosh.
You go, everybody.
Wow. Wow. All your artistic talents going in this altar, huh? It's amazing.